Hey everybody, Ryan Shead here. So this is going to be a little different than my normal videos. So strap in. uh, I've been quiet long enough. There's been a lot of things going on behind closed doors and whatever within the Democratic Party and myself that unfortunately I need to address now. So, um, yeah, with that said, for the last year and a half, I've been stalked and harassed by a group of middle aged Democratic women who like to ambush me in meetings and continuously sabotage me behind closed doors, even as recently as last weekend. Um, so, like I said, because of what I just found out over the last week, I can't be quiet anymore. And and hopefully by the time I'm done with this, you'll understand why. So, I think where I want to start this is that I have this stalker named Shauna, and she's been stalking me for like 10, 11 months. It's been quite a while, almost a year. And I was volunteering for a couple of campaigns. One of them was Nancy Gutierrez, who thank God won her election. But I volunteered for her and offered to work on her campaign, and was very excited about it because she clearly is a great candidate, and everybody agreed. Um, but this woman started stalking her because of me. And it just got so crazy that yeah, I ended up having to leave. But there's a little bit more to the story than that. So let's start with the Shauna lady. So I have two FBI reports on her. My wife has an FBI report on her. I also have a police report with a case number here in Pima County with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Now, they contacted her. They contacted this woman. And right after they got off the phone with her, she made a video.
County Sheriff's Office thinks it's perfectly acceptable for someone to send threatening messages to a woman's direct messages. The Pima County Sheriff's Department thinks it's totally fine for someone to say to a company that does Department of Defense work and government contracts, keeping our soldiers safe and probably keeping him safe in all honesty, that it's totally fine for someone to attack our company website. That's right. That's right. The Pima County Sheriffs have said it's totally fine to dox someone and attack their company website. They're also geniuses, and they think that it's, quote, harassment to let a candidate know that she's not going to be running for office because she supports doxing, cyber stalking, and destroying personal property. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. So make sure you keep watching. um, but so she didn't really care that the police contacted her and told her to stop. She just laughed it off, as you can see. And then she called me a liar, and she said this.
To hear about the lies that Ryan put in a police report. He lied in a police report, y'all. He said that I was going to call DCS, or that I called DCS on him. So I was like, really, officer? What does DCS mean? And he said Department of Child Services. He lied. He full on lied. And because I cannot prove that I didn't say that, because I'm not a freaking psychopath, and I cannot prove that I didn't call them because I could have called them from a different number or something, I don't even know if DCS was even called on him, to be quite honest. And these mofos actually called CPS on me. Like, not that anybody came here to tell me, because it would be stupid. Unfucking believable, Ryan. Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. And Nancy is unfucking believable too. She's a candidate. A fucking candidate.
She's a candidate that won, by the way. But if you're talking about proof, what about this? So here you'll notice it says, "You're a piece of shit, like all your friends. Is your wife this person as well? Are your kids in danger?" I said, "Serious note, making a statement that could have CPS show up to an interracial household is dangerous. Involving kids is unacceptable." So I didn't tell the police that she did call CPS. I said that I was concerned that it could happen because of what she was posting. Now, with that said, I want you to notice how she words all these videos and all these posts, because she never says that I contacted her business, that I contacted her husband. I don't even know what her business name is. And by the way, it's not her business, it's her husband's business. But this is so insane. So let's go to, how did this all start? So I got onto a live with this woman, and I was on it for maybe 15, 20 minutes. Unfortunately, I don't have the live because I didn't know that this was all going to go down, and so I didn't download it. Um, but on that live, like, the reason that I was on it was because she had become a political content creator, like a lot of us, a big group of us. So I knew who she was, because I don't do lives with people I don't know. So she sent me an invite. I was like, "Oh, I know who that is. Let me go ahead and do it." And within a couple minutes, she starts telling me about, "Oh, John Scott and my dude on TikTok are harassing me, and this, that, and the other." And I'm like, "I don't know anything about it. Honestly, I try not to follow the TikTok drama." And I was like, "So, I really can't talk about it." And she kind of kept pushing it, and I was like, I I can't talk about it. I don't know anything about it, you know? And the kicker is that before this happened, like, before this live and all this drama went down, I never spoke to my dude in a direct message, or done a live with him or anything. I had I don't think I had ever I think I direct messaged John maybe once or twice, but, like, we had just followed each other and, like, supported each other's stuff, like each other's stuff. We weren't I would not have considered us friends at that point. Not saying that in a derogatory way, just, we hadn't interacted enough for me to consider us friends. But this kind of changed that. So I'm going to try to go through these really quick and just show you how this progressed, because I just want you to see how I responded. So after I get off that live, she starts DMing me on Twitter, and she's like, "Here's what's going on with me on TikTok." And she sends me, like, this out of context 40-second video. And she just starts going and telling me about it all. And I said, "Look, I have to be honest. I want nothing to do with this. Every time I take sides on TikTok, it backfires. That video makes no sense to me without more context. Remind me not to get on your bad side, though." She took that "remind me not to get on your bad side" and, like, ran with it, that I was being, I don't know, dismissive or whatever. Again, I don't want any part of anybody else's drama. I got my own shit to deal with. You know what I mean? So she says, "Oh, no need to get into this at all. Just wanted you to be aware of these a-holes, or who these a-holes are." I'm like, and again, at that point, I hadn't really interacted with them very much. On the plus side, I did speak with the actual FBI agent, blah, 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 blah. She keeps going, sending me more videos. She keeps going. Now, then I wake up to, "Ryan, I unfollowed you. I'm disappointed in you. To not be dismayed that this guy said and did this." Like, she goes off on me on this long tangent. And I said, "So you're mad I didn't get involved, which is what I didn't want. I didn't take your bait and you unfollow me. I'm glad I listened to my gut about this. Have the experience you deserve." She didn't like me saying "have the experience you deserve," but, it is what it is. Now, the crazy thing, well, not crazy, but the interesting thing is that within 10 minutes of me getting off that live, I started getting text messages from people who have my phone number, who've known me for like 20 plus years. And they were like, don't get involved with her. Stay away from her." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm, not planning on getting involved with her." Jesus. That was 11 months ago. So then John Scott, who is one of the people that she's referencing when she says "those people, they blah, blah, blah," he messages me and says, "Hey man, team good guy is bad news. She started shit with Tommy and brought his kid into it. And you can pause it and read the rest if you want to. All Tommy did was send me a message, give me the quick rundown, and really was just like, I got the receipts, I can prove it, but you want to stay out of this." And he was just warning me away from it. Boy, do I wish that I had managed to get out of that unscathed, but I didn't. So here we are. So that's how I got on Shauna's radar. So now you might be asking yourself, how did the candidates that I was volunteering for end up on her radar? So one of the I've what I was going to do for Nancy and her campaign was basically like manage all of her social media because that's what I'm pretty good at. And when we sat down, I sat down with Nancy for a solid hour, maybe two. We went out to this taco place. The tacos weren't great, unfortunately, but the conversation was. Um, I walked away from it when I sat down with Nancy. I had met with the other candidates that were running for that seat because it was the same seat that I was collecting signatures for. So I wanted to meet with everybody, or as many of them as I could, and get a feel for them and whatever. And I didn't go into it expecting. I wasn't planning on working for any of them. I wasn't really planning on helping them, any of them, get elected. I just wanted to um, get to know them in terms of voting, um, who I would vote for. But I sat down with Nancy, and I was impressed, like, and we kind of vibed a little bit. Like, you know how it is, you sit down with somebody and you just you either get along with them or you don't. Nancy and I just kind of got along. And side note, her husband's awesome too. I wish I could have gotten to hang out with him a little more. Um, so we sat down and I said, look, by the time we were done with that lunch, I wanted to work for her. I wanted to help her get elected. She's a teacher. She's been a military spouse. She checks so many boxes, but on top of that, she's doing it for the right reasons. She's not doing it because she wants the power. She's doing it because she doesn't like the way everybody else is doing it, and she thinks she can do it better. It takes a little bit of an ego to run for office, in case you didn't know that. But she's got a healthy ego. She's got the ego that you want. And I saw it pretty instantly, and I wanted to help her. But there was something that I was going to get from that too. There's a gift. There's always a give take, right? So I was volunteering for free, but what I was getting from that was I was going to be next to her wherever she went. If she was banging on doors, I was going to be there with her, videoing and doing social media. If she's out meeting people, I was going to be there with her, taking photos and posting it. But I would have been meeting those people too. So it was like, for me, I wasn't getting paid. What I was getting paid with is experience, that on the job training, and making those connections with the people that I would need to make connections with when I ran for office again. Uh, yeah, but so that was what I was going to get from that arrangement, and unfortunately, that arrangement lasted like maybe 2 weeks, mainly because of Shauna. But we'll get into more of that. So there's so much more that I could show you, but again, I'm not trying to make this video freaking an hour long. Um, Here she said, "You should know that Nancy Frazee didn't recognize that the person she hired, Ryan Shead, hung out with criminals, and that he would tell a trauma survivor who was doing EMDR therapy and broke the cycle of abuse that my abuse didn't happen. They will have a starting role in my book." Now, I never said that her abuse didn't happen or anything like that. And it's really funny because she's like literally attacking me for almost a year, a disabled veteran who is very open about my mental health. But, yeah, you keep playing victim, lady. So she tagged the Arizona Democratic Party and Nancy. So here she goes again, tagging Nancy, Arizona House, saying that I want her to unalive herself. And my friends do too. Never give him a job in politics. He's a grifter. I mean, everybody that gets into politics is a grifter because they beg for donations because that's how they win elections. But okay. Um, then she says here, this is my favorite. "I didn't try to get you fired. I simply made sure you didn't do a live event with Evan," who I don't know who that is, "and then let her know of your TikToks. I have yet to lie." Huh.
Nancy, it's Shauna. I know you blocked me, and I'm only calling because your boy Ryan, like I said, he chose to be on the side of criminals. It's not you're not involved. I get that, but at the same time, you kind of are because of choices you made. And now on Ryan's page, someone has tagged my company. Now I have kept your name out of it for a long time until someone went ahead and posted my company on his page. One of you needs to get it removed ASAP, please. Thank you.
Now, again, wording. Somebody posted it on his page. I didn't post it. I didn't even know your information. Nancy didn't post it. And you didn't even tell me who made the, like, I'm just supposed to know where it is. And do you know how many comments I get on my posts? like, oh my God, lady, this is insane. It's freaking insane. So then she says, oh, it's time to let Nancy for AZ's school know she needs training on cyber stalking and how to handle it. And you'll notice in the background that Nancy for AZ had blocked her and she's still freaking going off. So, again. And then she tells Nancy, just wanted to let you know that I'm telling the full story and you will appear in the book. So this is the person that other people have sided with over me. So Nancy says, for everyone who has followed the story of me getting stalked and harassed, she did call the yoga studio and left an awful message. This is so tiresome. I have much bigger things to do. She also ended up calling her school as well. So she called the yoga studio and the school, the Democratic Party. Like she was calling anybody and everybody to trash me and to hurt Nancy. So here's a post from me where I said, you're stalking a political candidate I was working for before she had to fire me over this nonsense, which, again, I left. I no longer work for her. She has nothing to do with this. You are hurting a Democrat's campaign. You have hurt my ability to provide for my family, get a lawyer. Now, funny thing, I went and looked for a lawyer for like libel, that kind of thing. And the cheapest that I could find was $12,000 to go after her. And it's like, yeah, I don't have that kind of money. So she can lie and say whatever the hell she wants about me online, and I can't really do anything about it. So, like I said, here I have the proof. So everybody wants to say that I'm some evil asshole and da 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 da. Here's Shauna left her a voicemail now, and again, I want to point something out before. As soon as all this started going down, I contacted Nancy. The kicker is that when I contacted Nancy, she's like, yeah, she already contacted me. And I was just like, holy crap. Like I was letting Nancy know just in case, and this chick had already gone off and done it. So I said, I'm so sorry, Nancy. If you want me to step away from the campaign, I understand. I never imagined this would happen. So the first time that I offered there, she said no. She's like, I would expect that you have a couple crazies with the following that you have online. Okay, cool. Now, here's where the next interesting part comes in. And by the way, after I left the campaign, again, just to point out that I'm not the asshole everybody makes me out to be, I sent her an email here congratulating her. Oh, and also I let her know that she needed to go get certified on Twitter, that she could do that now because she was a verified candidate. I know I'm so evil, and you can see what the dates were that I was sending those emails. It was way after I'd left the campaign. She was already elected. So now here's the part that pisses me off, and this is where it gets interesting. When I was running, I had a couple of really bad meetings. One was with this, what's her name? Cheryl? What is it? Sylvia. So I sent Sylvia an email the other day, March 12th, and I wasn't very nice because I found out that Miss Sylvia, after ambushing me like a year and a half ago in a meeting, and we had one a bad Zoom meeting, that she was berating the new chair of the Democratic Party in public last weekend because she found out that I've been having meetings with people trying to get involved with the local party. I've met with the chair. I've met with the new chair of my LD. Like we had great meetings. Like I was really encouraged. And then all of a sudden, just like has happened for the last year and a half, I kind of started getting ghosted, started getting a weird vibe. Then I got an email and the tone totally changed. It was like, oh, well, it turns out that so-and-so's doing our social media, so you don't have to worry about it. Man, these people don't have anywhere near the social media following that I do. And I've offered to help them build theirs twice now for free. Like, I'll do your social media. I will help you. I'll like, what do you need? I'm more than happy to help. Nothing, right? So I say all of that because I'm frustrated, if you can't tell. There's this woman named Bonnie. She was the chair of the Democratic Party before this new person. And I was running. I was one of the first people to file my paperwork saying that I was running. All you had to do was go on the Secretary of State site and you would see, oh, Democrat running in LD18. Cool. Wouldn't be hard to do, especially somebody, with her expertise. So I sent I send out a text or a tweet, I'm sorry. And what had happened was is that they were sharing a bunch of Nathan Davis's stuff. He was somebody that was running as well, but I had filed my paperwork before him. And so they're out there pushing his stuff and his tweets and his messages, but they're not pushing mine. And I've got a much bigger following than he does. So it's like, you're not sharing my stuff. Like, I've shared your stuff, you know, but you're sharing the other people that I'm running against stuff. Like, it just wasn't a good look for me. So I said something about it online. And I guess I need to back up a little bit. So the Sylvia woman represents this group called Common Defense. And she reached out to me when she found out that there was a veteran in the race. She was like, oh, I didn't know that there was a veteran in the race. Let me set up a Zoom with you. Cool. Let's set up a Zoom. So if you'll notice, that's the Zoom meeting up here, September 6th, 2021 was when that we set up that Zoom. So it happened sometime around there. Um, and in that Zoom, it did not go well. There was two other guys in there, and they can testify that it did not go well. I didn't like Sylvia. She has an attitude, and she's not somebody that I would voluntarily contact to mentor me, or like, she's one of those people that I would only call if I absolutely had to. That's the best way to put it. So that meeting didn't go well. I put a tweet out in between or a little bit after that about the Pima Democratic Party seems to have already taken sides, with Nathan Davis, ruffling feathers. And I get this email from Bonnie, says, hi, I'm Bonnie, blah, 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 the chair. And she says she looked me up in the van and pulls a number out of her butt from when I lived in Michigan 15 years ago. So I have no idea where she got that, especially considering that the van had been updated when I ran for office down in Sierra Vista. So you can see the passive aggressive way she wrote this. And she's like, I was reaching out to set up a Zoom meeting or meeting to discuss your candidacy for LD9 House. It is customary for the chair to talk with candidates. Usually the candidate reaches out to the chair to discuss their running. I was hoping to have an opportunity to have that discussion with you as I have had with the other candidates. Please feel free to give me a call. I was hoping to get together in the next day or two. It's like, okay, well, why the rush all of a sudden? And it's customary to reach out to you. Like, what is your job as the chair of the local Democratic Party? It's not to find young candidates and mentor them and help them. It's to sit there like a throne and expect us to come kiss your ring and beg for your support. Because that's exactly what she expected, by the way. So I was like, I read that email. I was like, you know what? You reached out to me. I'll come to the headquarters. So I go to the headquarters, and we were wearing masks at the time. And I walk in and she's like, oh, I invited Sylvia with me. And I'm like, okay, it didn't click who Sylvia was when the meeting went down. And so we've got the masks on for like half the meeting. And then it like instantly it felt like I wasn't there to have a constructive conversation. It was more, I was there to be reprimanded for saying something on Twitter bad about the party. And and that's exactly what it was. So when we take off the mask, I was like, wow, she looks familiar. And then she starts telling me who she is. And I'm like, you dirty bitches. So first, it was like instantly I'm sitting there in this meeting, and as soon as she told me who she was, it was like in my head, all these dots start connecting. I'm like, you evil little shits. So Bonnie had sent her to get information in this meeting. So when she had that Zoom meeting with me, right? She went back, and the whole reason I got these meetings, by the way, is because of my social media posts. When I sat down with Bonnie in that meeting, she's like, "Well, I don't even have Twitter, and I heard about your post." Well, then that should tell you how fucking powerful I am, shouldn't it? But instead, what do? You sit down, you piss me off, and you turn me into an enemy. Outstanding fucking job. I was raising $1,500 a day doing lives before I dropped out of the race. Like, you guys have no idea the resource I could have been, but because of some bullshit, you guys wanted to turn me. Okay, so here we go. I've spent 25 minutes and I've probably got a solid another 10, 15 minutes of dragging you motherfuckers across the internet. So here we go. So I had that meeting with Bonnie. That didn't go well. So I tell you all of this to go back to me leaving Nancy's campaign. So while all of this is going on, there she was working with the Women's March organizers. Her name is Tina. And again, I somehow managed to piss her off, and I have another enemy. And she basically gave Nancy an ultimatum of, well, if you're going to have him working on the campaign, then maybe we need to rethink supporting you. Bitch, seriously? Like, so of course, I'm not the type of person to just sit there and take shit. So, well, that was me waving my white flag. I'll read you that one. But I sent her a thing. I'm like, the fact that you would tank a woman's campaign because I was working for her speaks volumes of your character. And you call yourself an ally. What a joke. She says, contact me one more time and I'll get a restraining order. I have you blocked on all social media for a reason. And I was like, you gave a candidate I was working for an ultimatum regarding me, and you think you'd get a restraining order on me? You're messing with my life behind closed doors. I'm not going anywhere. Buckle up. So that was like a while ago. I sent this email to 523. I said, hey, I hope this finds you well. Basically, I just, you know, ate shit and begged for forgiveness, basically, even though I don't think I should have had to. And I said, I'm not asking for you to support me, but I'm just asking you not to be against me. I'm just asking you not to, continually sabotage me behind closed doors. So this woman is so evil. But I went back to say, what was it that started this whole thing? And it was this email, because what happened was I had showed up for the first meeting to organize the Women's March, and I think it was 2021, right? Yeah, 2021. So I had showed up to the first meeting. It was at I think it was a yoga studio, but it was her place. And Tina showed up. There was a woman there with her daughter, and I think there was like one or two other people. There wasn't too many of us. And we had a meeting. We talked for like an hour, took some notes, whatever. And we left, and everybody kind of had their assignments. My whole family ended up getting sick right around that time. But even in the meeting, I had some, I don't want to call them concerns, but, like, hey, I don't want to do merchandise if we don't know where the money is going to go. Like, I want to know where the money is going to go if I'm putting my name on this event, especially as a political candidate. I was, I'm a new candidate. I was listening to some advisors. So I sent this email and I said, I wouldn't sponsor something professionally with no insurance or paperwork filed with the city. So like they were kind of talking about, I had read and interpreted the city's mandate one way, and I think they interpreted another. And I guess it went down great and they had no issues. So, I'm fucking happy about that. But what I want you to pay attention to is on the bottom, it says, I will happily push out advertisements on my social media accounts to support you. But that's all I'm comfortable doing at this point. Respectfully, Ryan Shead. That was it. That was it. That's what started all of this. That's what's gotten me banned in the Democratic community. That's what's got people sabotaging me and telling people not to work with me. Like, I need you guys to understand that this is like being in an abusive relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the Democrats, unfortunately, get a little too comfortable with, well, what are they going to do? Become Republicans? You know, I mean, they're not going to go become Republicans. No, you're right. I'm not going to become a Republican because my views haven't changed. My my political opinions and views have not changed at all. What has changed is my desire to be discriminated against, and for the party that should be representing a disabled veteran who wants to run for office in an interracial marriage, like, the party should be supporting people like me, but instead they're helping the people attacking my family and attacking me. I'm very open about my mental health, and they use it against me. So I say all of that to say, unfortunately, I refuse to stay in an abusive relationship. I'm not a Republican. I'm not going to stick around and hope things get better. So, with that said, due to the way that I've been treated in the party by my elected representative, because honestly, I'm not mad at Nancy, but it would have been nice to know that after she's been elected, that if she would have stood up for me, because out of everybody that's been involved in this whole thing, she has spent more time with me than anybody. So it would have been nice if my elected official would have stood up for a disabled veteran being stalked like this, especially when she was on the receiving end as well. But unfortunately, I became the sacrificial lamb. And so that said, I am leaving the Democratic Party effective immediately, and I will be an independent. I will continue supporting the candidates that I deem uh, worthy of my support. I will continue to be a liberal. I will continue fighting for my transgender friends. I will continue fighting for my Black community because my family is a part of that community. Um, I will continue doing the things that I'm doing. Nothing is going to change about that. But unfortunately, the Democratic Party has become extremely toxic for me and my family. So I love you all. I hope this doesn't change your support for me, because it doesn't change my support for you. It's simply a personal choice, just like I don't push my religion on you. I hope you don't push the Democratic Party on me. I'm still a liberal through and through, and I'll still fight these battles with you. It's just going to have to be on my terms. So, with that said, I'll leave you as I always do with much love. Keep fighting, and thank you because I really do love you guys.